All right. The next program that I want to go over. Let's walk out a little bit because I want to get beside some trees, guys. Y'all follow me. Don't look at me now. Don't look at me. I know I'm moving there. All right. I want y'all to get this tree over here. I know it's not a big tree. It's kind of slim. But basically, I want to go over the next program is rural. Is our rural loan. Us in the lending industry, we call it RD. On a rural loan, and the reason I want to point out the tree, a lot of clients think, well, when you say rural, you think of just the country. Guys, I grew up in the country. I grew up in rural Madison, Mississippi. So I know about the country. But just because we say rural, you may think, well, I'm not in the country. Do I still qualify for a rural loan? Rural doesn't mean just you live in the actual country. The rural department actually goes by the different populations in the city to actually determine if you actually qualify for a rural loan. So we got people going by here looking for Top Flight Financial. It's down the street, guys. I'm here for you. All right. So with a rural loan, you can actually get up to 102% financing. That is awesome. Again, I said previously on the VA loan, it was 100%. On a rural loan, it's an awesome program. It's 102% financing. And I didn't write down the rural website, because what you have to do is once you actually find a realtor and actually find out if a property qualifies for rural, then there are actually a lot of properties out there that qualify for rural. But I'm not going there right now. I want to go back to the actual guidelines. I kind of jumped a little bit, so I'm going back. My camera lady behind me, she said, go back to what we were talking about. We're going to stick with the basics, and we're going to keep it real and keep it simple. When you come to us as the lender, what do we require from you as for the credit score? Your credit score is, we go down to at least a 620 credit score on a rural loan. A 620 credit score, that's awesome. You want to have at least 2, maybe 3 trade lines. It's not required at all times, but it's good to have at least 2 to 3 open trade lines that you can have for at least 12 to 24 months. At least 12 to 24 months. Again, a rural loan is 102% financing. Why do you need that 2%? I'll go over that in a minute. But let's say you find a home for $100,000. I go back to the $100,000. Well, us as the lender, we will lend you, or one of our lenders will lend you $100,000. That's 100%, guys. 100%. You can't beat it. That means, yes, no down payment. With rural loan, you don't have to have a down payment. That's awesome. Some areas that actually qualifies for rural, the loans I've done are parts of Byram, Mississippi. Of course, Jackson, Mississippi is not rural, guys, so it doesn't qualify for rural. Of course, you guys know that. There's parts of Madison County that actually qualify for rural. Parts of Pearl that qualifies for rural. A small portion of Clinton, very small portion of Clinton qualifies for rural. You have Flowood. There's parts of Brandon that qualifies for rural. Again, guys, there's several places, Canton, that qualify for rural loans. But basically, I'll come back with you guys, and maybe you can look on, if you're on Facebook, you look at the bottom of that clip in there, I'll have the website for rural. You can type in the property address and actually find out if the property that you are interested in qualifies for rural. Or get with your local realtor or call our office. We can hook you up with one of our preferred realtors that we work with. All right? So with rural, you want to have at least a 620 credit score. You want at least 2 to 3 open trade lines. Okay, at least 2 to 3 open trade lines. What do I mean by trade line? You want to have at least a car loan that you're paying on, a credit card, student loan, any type of loans that are credit cards that you may have is considered to be an open trade line. All right. Now, one thing about rural, what does rural look at? Also on your loan, on your credit. Let's say you have student loans, and student loans are deferred. What I mean, well, if you have student loans, you know what deferments are. Student loan, it doesn't matter if a student loan is deferred or not. If a student loan is actually deferred on a rural loan, they will still count that student loan as a debt against you. So that's one thing about rural. If you have a student loan that is deferred, or even in forbearance, they will still estimate what that payment would be. There's a calculation that they use, that us as the lenders use to, but that student loan will actually be counted against your income. All right. You want at least 2 years of employment where you've been working on a job for 2 years. Say you've been in school, same thing. Say you've been in school for 2 years, and you just found employment. That's great. With on a rural loan, we can actually use that schooling as your employment. Well, let's say you've been working at Walmart for 6 months. You've been working at Comcast for a year, and then you had just you graduated a year. Let's say a year and a half ago or 2 years ago. We can actually, if your jobs are broken up like that, guys, you can still purchase a home. It's okay that you have different jobs. In this day and time, to have a job is just an awesome thing. It's just awesome to just have a job. So we can work with you. So again, to recap, on a rural loan, it's 100% financing, 102% financing. You want to have at least 2 to 3 open trade lines. The seller can pay up to 6% in total closing costs. That's awesome, up to 6%. All right, now I want to go back over that 102%. Let's say if the seller would not pay all your closing costs, which that does happen. Say if the seller only would pay 3% of your closing costs. The great thing about rural, you can actually use that other 2% to cover a portion of your closing costs. You can finance 2% of your closing costs. That's awesome. That is not, there's no other program that you can do that on except for rural. Rural is a great program if you're looking in different areas that's not considered to be cities, such as Jackson, Mississippi. So again, rural is a great program. With us, you want to have at least a 620 credit score, at least 2 to 3 open trade lines for at least 12 to 24 months. The seller can pay up to 6% closing costs. That's pretty much it. But I want to give you my information again so you have it. My name is Alonzo Edwards with Top Flight Financial, located here in Ridgeland, Mississippi. We are a Mississippi licensed mortgage company and an equal credit opportunity lender. My phone number is 601-957-5602. My email address, always reach me on email, alonzo@topflightfinancial.com. That's alonzo@topflitefinancial.com. Yeah, I can spell, guys. I got it right that time. All right. You can always look me up on Facebook. Our company, again, is Top Flight Financial. On Facebook, it's Top Flight Financial MS. Again, my name is Alonzo Edwards. Give me a call if you have any questions at all. We're here to help you, and we love you.